Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummell. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, welcome to the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummell. It's great to be with you here again this week as we talk about different aspects of genius and how to find your genius. This week, we're going to talk about everyday genius. And that's kind of a weird juxtaposition of words, I know. Like, how can genius, which is supposed to be this amazing thing, be every day? But it is, and I'm going to tell you why as we get into it this week. So, one of the reasons that I do this show and that I write my books and I coach people is to help them find the genius qualities that they were born with, to help them find them, be able to locate them, see where they can access them in their lives, and to ultimately express themselves through those qualities. Like, basically, it's like a treasure chest of inborn talents and skills that people are born with that they don't necessarily know that they have, or if they know it, they're not accessing them as much as they could be. And that's kind of where I come along, to help them get to those things in themselves and to be able to express them. And so one of the ways to do that is to be able to see your genius showing up every day in different little ways. Okay, your uniqueness, your talents, your skills, your gifts. See how they actually show up in your life in just very small ways where you may just kind of gloss over them, but your genius is actually showing up in those small ways. And so anyway, we'll get into some examples later on. But in terms of everyday genius, first we have to kind of really look at what genius really means. All right. And it's really hard to tear ourselves away from the idea of genius as being either, number one, this giant IQ, the intelligence quotient test. And I wish they had used a different word besides genius to talk about somebody that has a high IQ, because people that have high IQs are not necessarily expressing their genius. They might be, probably not. It means they're just very intelligent for some reason, okay? That's one thing. The second thing is that genius is always kind of shown as somebody like Mozart or an Einstein or somebody excelling in whatever field of expression that they engage in. And that, again, may or may not be true. I mean, you could be a mathematician, let's say, and just be doing these stunning revelations of new understandings through equations and understanding quantum physics and so forth, but still not be expressing your genius. You could be really, really good at something and not be expressing your genius. But, in other words, if one of your genius qualities was to express yourself through quantum physics, you would be good at it, but you would be getting a sense of life fulfillment from it. You would be getting a sense of purpose from it. You would be really always making time for it and always have energy for it. And there's plenty of people in all fields, but in this field we're talking about with quantum physics, let's say, plenty of people working in that field that they're good at it, but it doesn't bring them joy. It doesn't bring them their kind of, feeling of life fulfillment, okay? Because that's not necessarily their genius. So let's separate our ideas from, genius being this masterpiece and being, a very rare phenomenon that happens in people, and then come back to the idea of everyday genius, where what you are, your uniqueness, is special in the way that it only happens once, but not special in the way that you're the only one or the best one at doing something. Okay? It's a big distinction. And that's why everyday genius, that kind of concept of that, about that idea, is important, because every single person that lives on the planet has a genius that shows up. And when we're not accessing it, when we're not acknowledging it, rather, as such, we tend to kind of like defer that part of ourselves for another day and end up, still in a state of wonderment, like, where am I going to find something that's life fulfilling? Where am I going to find something that helps me to feel like I'm really like engaged in my life, and that I feel a sense of purpose as I'm walking through my life and walking through my day. Okay, so that's what we're going for. The genius being one of a kind, put it over there. Everyday genius, that's on our focus today. Okay, so what is everyday genius? What does it look like to show your genius, to express your genius? And so I'll give you a few little telltale signs of somebody's genius being expressed. So one of the ways that I work with people is do psychotherapy, besides my genius coaching and so forth. And when people come into my office with, basically, let's say, an anxiety problem, okay? They could be in the middle of an anxiety attack even. And I've seen this happen dozens of times, where I use the genius way as a therapeutic tool. And when I can get somebody who landed on their genius qualities, landed on, what they're here to do, what their topic is, what their specific gift is, and I learned this after working with them for a little while, I can even help them to come out of panic attacks, come out of anxiety attacks, just by talking about their particular genius. And what happens is, when a person gets on that topic, all of a sudden they start to sit up straight. Their eyes widen. Any kind of connection with the anxiety kind of goes away in deference to this thing that is really, really important to them. Like, for instance, one client that I'm thinking about right now loved to make music. He was a DJ, and he would make music and, kind of record different, mix things together and record different recordings. And when he would talk to me about that and how interesting it was to him, and how like amazing this creative act was to him, he would be completely engaged. His voice would take on a sense of authority. He would be telling me in a state of like how important it was, and with an air of authority and authenticity. And so much so that I would kind of have to sit back and listen to somebody who was, basically, like an authority on this subject. Okay. So it was like I was being taken to school. Here is, this guy was saying, here is my take on this. And his expression was so strong and so powerful, and really, really mesmerizing and attractive, just to see him so focused on how important that was to him, right? There's a new insight that he brings to it. There was different lenses that he would put on to see, why this music was so incredible and what was so cool about it, and so forth. So for a minute, I get kind of taken away on their vision of their genius, okay? It's very, very palpable in the moment. You can feel it when somebody is on their genius. And in this case, it wasn't even when he was spinning. He wasn't when he was, being a DJ. It was just him talking about it. Okay. So that's one example of somebody kind of landing on their genius, didn't even know it was there. And so part of my technique is to make him aware of what's happening in this moment. Okay. He was just having an anxiety attack. And now, just from being on this topic and speaking about something that's deeply, not just important to him, deeply connected to him and intrinsic to him as a person, okay, he was able to come out of this anxiety attack. It's like, what anxiety? What is it? So I guarantee when that's happening, his cortisol and adrenaline levels went down. Everything kind of calmed down and made way for this unique kind of intrinsic expression to come up with such sincerity and depth and conviction. Okay, just about like I'm talking right now. I am really excited about the idea of genius, and this guy was just really excited about being a DJ and everything that had to do with it. So that became one of our ways to kind of bring him back to his genius, is to get him talking about his DJ work, right? And so I guarantee that there is something or a few things for you that are in this vein of activity, and that are in this vein that, again, genius is not about being better than everybody else at something. It's about, like this DJ, he didn't care whether he was better than anybody. He was just like, I love this. This is important to me. Look how cool this is. I want to share this with you, how cool I think this is and how that feels to me. It's not just an interest. It's something connected to the fund of expressive energy that he was born with, he in particular. And so you were born with a fund of expressive energy that contains particular things for you as well. And the trick is to find it, give a voice to it, give a way to express it, and spend your time doing that, knowing yourself as that, knowing that part of yourself, knowing that genius aspect of yourself. You'll benefit from it, and every single person around you is going to benefit from it as well. Okay? So, all right, let's take a short break and watch a video about this. And when we come back, we're going to dig into this topic just a bit more.
If your morning routine looks like a quirky art exhibit, you're a genius in disguise. Imagine this. You're making breakfast and you arrange your toast like a masterpiece. Or you mix up colors in your wardrobe like a walking rainbow. These little quirks are not just habits, they're glimpses of your everyday genius. Think about it. Einstein had his wild hair and Beethoven composed while dunking his head in cold water. It's our unique ways of doing things that make us special. Embrace those oddities, because in them lies your true creativity. Next time someone calls you eccentric, take it as a compliment. You're not just thinking outside the box, you've thrown the box away. Celebrate your personal flair in everything you do, and whether it's the way you solve problems or how you organize your space. Remember, there's no normal in genius. So go on, let your freak flag fly. Your unique touch is what makes the world a more interesting, vibrant place. Embrace it and unlock your everyday genius.
Yeah, so remember, your life is about expressing this genius quality of yourself. And so when I say that, I know that sounds drastic, but it's true. We have a mandate from existence to express what we were born with. When we were born, we're obviously not a finished product, right? And this life, one of the ways you can see this life is to be able to use it to unfold the seed, or unpack, or let the seed of what we were born with grow into its full expression. That's what the Genius Way is all about. Teaching people how to let that seed of what you were born with as your expressive self, let it play out as far as it wants to go. Like literally letting the acorn grow into the biggest oak that it possibly can grow into. Okay? Because in that little acorn, the whole oak is ready to come out. Okay? If the blueprint is there, it's ready. And you just have to kind of take care of it until it gets to that stage. Then once it starts to grow, you keep giving it ways to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Right? The same thing happens with our genius. And a lot of people suffer from, what I kind of tongue-in-cheek called genius deprivation syndrome. I'm being kind of silly about it, but it's kind of like, it's really true. If you're deprived from expressing this unique aspect of yourself, you miss a whole color, a whole palette of colors of your life. You know, one of the worst things that we do in this society that we live in is that we try to emulate others as a way of evolving or being in society. We try to emulate others. We go for the fashion trends, what's cool to say, what's cool to eat. It just kind of goes on and on and on. Different things become attractive and then not attractive and so on, right? But with all that, the people who kind of find their own path, their unique path, and their unique expression are a lot of times looked upon as kind of like special somehow. And yeah, sure, you see a great artist and like, wow, they're really good, really great singer, what a great songwriter, what a great athlete. Sure, there's that, right? But that being a great athlete or singer or banker or whatever, that's not what makes them fulfilled. And you can see lots of people who are famous or rich or whatever that are not fulfilled. They might be famous and rich, but fulfillment, no. Fulfillment comes from expressing your genius. Fulfillment comes from expressing that thing that you were born with as a seed and letting that seed that you in particular have grow into what it's supposed to grow into, right? And then by supposed to, I'm not saying that there's some moral application to, what are you supposed to grow into? You're supposed to be an upright citizen or this or that. No, when I say supposed to, I'm saying what's in the DNA of your genius? What is packed into that treasure chest of genius qualities that you in particular were born with? That's what I'm talking about of what you're supposed to grow into. Okay. And so it's kind of, again, it's a mandate from existence. So the way to start doing this, the way to start on your genius way, on your path of expressing your genius, and I mean expressing your genius not in some magnificent expression of a masterpiece or some kind of like world recognized feat, but in the everyday genius is to start recognizing the different ways that you in particular do something that many times as children we are shamed for. Okay, like a lot of people in my generation were shamed for writing with their left hand. Not only shamed, they were traumatized by being taught that they had to write with the right hand until people understood a little bit more and like, why? What's that about? Of course, some people are left-handed. I mean, as we go along more and more and more, this aspect of genius and fulfillment and life purpose is going to become more and more obviously important. It's going to be taught in schools at some point, I hope. Like life purpose, what does that mean for you? How do you get to yours? Not as just some kind of silly, fantasy of a perfect life. Life purpose is actually a thing. Okay. So in everyday genius, you start to look at the unique ways that you do what you do. And instead of saying, oh, that's weird, I better fall in line and do it like all the other people are doing it. Instead, you give it a while to like see what is it about that for me? What is that? So I'll give you an example. So I have a thing that I do, just some little thing. And I'm not saying this is genius. I'm saying it's a little aspect of, something that I do. Maybe some of you do it too. That's just different and makes sense to me. So this thing used to drive one of my exes crazy. So as I was driving somewhere, let's say I'm driving somewhere that I would drive normally, like driving to school or driving to the grocery store, or driving somewhere. Okay. Every time I go, I take a different route. And I don't know why I do that. It's kind of like an experiment. It's kind of like fun. It's kind of like, well, let's see what happens. I'm curious, you know? And for my ex sitting there, in her mind, she always wanted to take the absolute fastest route between 2 points. The most efficient, get there the fastest, and we get extremely unhappy that I would do this other weird thing. And I would just do it naturally, just because, like, oh, what's it like? Of course, I can drive somewhere fast if I need to. But when I didn't need to, I didn't care if I got there 3 minutes early or 10 minutes early or whatever. It didn't matter. What was mattering more to me was to be spontaneous, creative, and curious. Okay. So that's one little example. So I wonder if you could think of some example in your life where you do something that's a little weird, a little eccentric, a little different, and see if you can notice that and see it instead as something that's unique to you. In other words, not that you're the only one that does it, but that it makes sense to you to do it in that way. I'll give you another example. Whenever I put my socks on, I stand up and balance on one foot to put the other sock on, just to practice my balance. I've always done it that way. And I don't know. What about you? Is there anything like that you do that's a little odd, that's a little different? So start seeing these things, again, not as your ultimate genius expression. That's not what I'm talking about. But everyday genius means, like, I honor the unique ways that I do what I do. I honor the unique ways that making a tuna sandwich comes out of me. That the way that I sing or the way that I garden, I like and I honor the different ways that I express that I'm not trying to follow anybody else's example. I'm not trying to follow anybody else's method of doing it. I just do it the way that I do it. And that's okay. Not only is it okay, it's important, because as you kind of see, your job is not to be another Einstein or a Mozart. Your job is to be uniquely you. Your job is to be the most you that you can allow yourself to be. And that's the thing that happens in society, is we kind of try to homogenize our experience so we don't stick out too much. And that's kind of a shame and a crime, because our collective expression becomes pretty small when we don't honor the genius in each other and make room for it in how how we present ourselves and how we function as a society. So what you can do, though, is honor the genius as it appears to you. And, we'll take that down a notch. And in everyday genius, we'll just say, okay, acknowledge your eccentricities, acknowledge your weirdness, acknowledge the odd way you might do this or that or that. Because ultimately, those are the cool things. Again, I'm not talking about hurting anyone or getting in anybody's way or pushing anybody out of anything else. But when you express yourself from your unique oddness or differentness, not to be different just because it's coming from your interiority, from your genius, that makes all the difference in the world. It makes a difference in people's lives that you come in contact with, and it certainly makes a difference in your life. Don't leave this world without your genius being expressed. And by that, I mean, you don't have to create a masterpiece, but you do benefit from expressing who you are and what you are in your intrinsic core, in your creative, expressive outlook aspect of yourself. It makes a difference that you show up in the world, because you have all this expressive energy. If you don't use it, the world is poorer for it. And I guarantee that that's true. All right, we're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to do a guided visualization to help you discover a little bit more of this awareness of your everyday genius for yourself. And I'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, I'm really excited to let you know that I'm finishing up my new course, the Genius Way Process course. This course is for anyone who wants to discover what's in their genius, their inborn gifts, their talents, and their callings. In this course, I'm going to provide you with the 10 life skills that we all need to access our individual genius and to make it a part of our everyday life. If you'd like to know more about the Genius Way Process course and when it's available, go to thegeniusway.com and sign up to get notified. I can't wait to share this with you. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and then deeply exhale. Imagine that you're outside working in your garden. You're digging in the earth, and then your shovel hits something solid. You dig out the object, and you find that it's a small wooden chest with the words, "Your Genius Gifts," inscribed on it. You see that the inscription also contains today's date. The chest has a mysterious lock on it that requires one of your unique qualities to open it. Which unique quality of yours do you use to open the lock? When the chest opens, allow yourself a few moments to look through the contents of your genius gifts. What do you see? How do you feel about your gifts that are here in this chest? Is there anything that surprises you about these genius gifts? Now, choose one specific gift that seems most important to express in your life currently. What is this gift? What makes this gift important for you to express right now? Now see yourself taking this gift from the box and then closing the lid. Realize that all of the gifts in this box are yours from birth. Now you know where they are, and you can return to this treasure chest of inborn genius gifts and call on them when you need them. They are yours to express and can never be lost. And now, with this experience fully intact in your awareness, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. So, everyday genius is important. It's important to understand the way that you express yourself in small ways, because those small ways are a doorway or a window into the big unfolding of your expressive self or your genius. You know, you got to start watching these small ways that you express yourself that are unique in order for you to kind of make genius a part of your everyday life. Make it normal. Make it, become aware of it as part of your identity. Just like, what's my favorite food? What colors do I like? What kind of music do I like? These are all parts of kind of what make you you. And so your genius is something not that you've chosen, but something that's been given to you at birth. And to be able to bring that out and see it happening every day, it makes it much closer. It makes the idea of expressing yourself, it makes the idea of feeling a sense of fulfillment and purpose that much closer if you are aware of the inborn gifts that you actually have, right? So, let's dispel a myth. You are not sitting here alone in the universe that that is indifferent to you. You came here with a specific set of qualities to express with your life, not in your life, but with your life. Your whole life is expressing it. And you express any number of these qualities every day. And besides, whatever your psychological experience is in this life, there's also kind of like a mandate that you've been given, that we've all been given individually, to express something in particular. And that expression has a purpose in existence. We don't get to know what that is necessarily, but we do know that when we express our genius, which is our collection of skills, talents, callings that we've been born with, it has let's call it a positive effect or a beneficial effect somehow on the world around us. Even if it's just to inspire somebody else to express their genius. Whatever it is, it's definitely there for you to express. It is your job. No one else can do this but you. No one else can be this thing that you are, this person that you are, this unique, universal, existential expression that you are. No one else can do it. So, that's the genius way. Helping people to find their genius in their everyday life and to be able to express it in a satisfactory way so that you can feel the sense of life purpose, feel a sense of fulfillment, and have some sense of meaning in your life through the expression of your own gifts. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is take another commercial break, and I'll come back to you with some words of inspiration to send you on your way.
Ben Hummell's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
To live a genius-aware life, we need to start to see how our genius may show up in our everyday lives. Instead of thinking about genius as creating a masterpiece or getting some large-scale recognition for something, it's important to notice the small ways in which we all express ourselves in unique ways, even when no one's looking. When we can see our unique genius operating in the simple things that we do, it becomes easier to tap into it when we're wanting to express something that's deeper and more complex. So look to your eccentricities and oddities for the things that are uniquely you, because they represent your inborn genius. And that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really enjoyed hanging out with you again this week. And here is your weekly self-inquiry journal prompt. Write about one small way that you express yourself that's unique to you. All right? Once again, write about one small way that you express yourself that's unique to you. Okay, looking for your everyday genius. So until next week, guys, I invite you to stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummell. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummell on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummell.